The budget bill that House Republicans passed late last night has potential dramatic cuts to Medicaid and to food stamps. What does this guy, former President Ronald Reagan, have to do with it? I got a story for you. The story actually starts way back in the 1970s, in the 1976 presidential election, when Ronald Reagan first ran for president, an unsuccessful bid. And he invoked this woman. Her name was Linda Taylor. She was a Chicago resident, and she was a welfare cheat. She became known as the welfare queen. What she was accused of, she actually did. That's not the problem. The problem is much deeper than that, and that's how we got to where we are today. The problem is that Linda Taylor began to be the face of welfare or public assistance. See, before this time, people understood that the vast majority of Americans who collect welfare, who are on public assistance, are white. That was true then. That's absolutely true today. That's one of the reasons that Lyndon Johnson's Great Society program was so popular, because it was helping lots of white people. When Ronald Reagan came along and made Linda Taylor the face of public assistance, he did so because he wanted to reduce the size of the federal government, reduce the role of government in people's lives. As a result, people began to think of welfare as an inner city issue, a black issue. It became racialized. And we can see the results of that racialization in the current MAGA movement. The discussions of people who are cheating the system, frauds, etc. And that's complicated in a number of ways because intuitively, of course, we would not want taxpayer money or any money really wasted for people who are cheating. The problem is there's not that many people cheating. Certainly not saying it doesn't happen, it does. But the number of people who are cheating is much smaller than the Republicans would like us to believe, because it serves a certain interest to reduce benefits, in this case, to pay for tax cuts for the very wealthy. The Doge folks are finding this out. We were promised we're going to cut $2 trillion from the national budget. And I think Doge is saying on their website now there's somewhere around 150 billion or 200 billion. And all of that isn't substantiated. Some of it's going to be coming back because what they're realizing is there's not nearly as much waste, fraud, and abuse as people like to believe. So when you hear folks talking about dramatic cuts to these public assistance programs not hurting the quote-unquote deserved people, think twice, because what do they mean by who deserves it? There are already work requirements for Medicaid, for instance. Food stamps overwhelmingly go to children. I'm sure that there's some folks who think we should be putting those children to work, but most of us don't. That waste, fraud, and abuse that they keep replaying over and over and over again suggests to us that it's vast, but the evidence does not support that. Instead, what we see is a narrative that's comfortable, particularly for a white majority, to buy into. And that's how we got to where we are today.